Hey everybody, welcome to Rock and Roll Shin-Soo, episode number 69. My name is Gabe Estel. I'm here with my co-hosts Dennis Levi Leach and Jonathan Getz. How's it going, guys?
Bonjour.
Doing good?
Good.
Sorry, we both said it at the same time.
Happy hot stove, guys. Happy off season. So good to see everybody.
We're staying warm, man. We're multiple hoodies. We're hunkering down.
That's right. So it's been exciting so far. We're going to talk about the hot stove tonight, some of the remaining free agents, some of the deals that have already been cut, as well as, in the spirit of the hot stove, we're going to do band trades too. We did these, I think, during our first or second season, and I'll see if I can pull those up and revisit them as well. So tonight we're going to do that again. That never gets old. And then also, as we're closing down 2016, a year which I think most people agree can be put to rest very soon.
I'm already writing 2017 on my checks.
Yes, the giant flaming hot turd that was 2016 is going to be coming to a close. But some good music came out, so we're going to talk about that. And I want to remind everybody, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RockInChew. That's in as in Hideki Nomo.
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I lost that in the pool.
Yeah. So maybe we'll do what about 1998? He came into the league or so, probably right around there.
I'm going to do this show from back like at this angle now, the Hideki Nomo angle.
Yes. So yeah, he was a fun one to watch. So please follow us at RockInChew. And then also you can find everything you need to know about Rock and Roll Shin-Soo at rockchew.com. So every single episode we've ever recorded, plus different links, our B-side episodes, how to get a hold of us, how to donate, how to find us on social media, all of the outlets are there. So please check out rockchew.com and also check us out on either your favorite podcasting app or iTunes and leave us a review, please. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and get this started, boys. The hot stove, obviously, it's been quite warm over the last week or so.
It seems to get warm earlier every year. Is that right?
Well, I guess the winter meetings were last weekend, I think, right? Yeah. So it seems like it starts to heat up a little bit about 2 weeks before those, I think. Because there were already a few deals that were cut before the winter meetings. Yeah. Not as significant, but some that were made already. So I want to talk all of our teams have made significant moves.
With each other, even.
With each other. Yeah, Jesus. So we'll talk about those. Obviously, for me, I think it's a bit of a cliche, but boys, I think it's safe to say a new era has begun.
Mediocrity no longer.
Yes. The short term might be a little bit more the short term might be a bit painful, but I think the long term prospects look pretty good.
losing 89 games next year will never feel more glorious. Exactly,
because you're going to switch those digits. It's going to be 98 wins the following year. So yeah, I'm excited, guys. You know, I mean, we made a transformative trade with Chris Sale, and then maybe even another transformative trade with Adam Eaton, which I think is, unless this guy that we got just totally bombs, I think we got the better end of that one.
So yeah, you texted early on before the Sale deal was made, and you said Sale might go to the Nats for this prospect and this other prospect, and it turns out the next day Sale went to the Red Sox. But then you ended up getting that one of those prospects from the Nats anyway for Adam Eaton. So I imagine you're pretty stoked.
Baseball's number 3 prospect for Adam Eaton. I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
It's not that Eaton's a bad player. I'm not trying to dog the guy because I think he is a pretty solid player.
Yeah.
But he's like number 3 prospect in baseball. I don't really know if like you flip like baseball's arguably, but he's number 3 prospect overall, and I think isn't he like the number 1 pitching prospect? right now, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Could be. Yeah.
So he's a starting
Right.
pitcher or relief pitcher?
He's a starter, Giolotto. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I assume I assume he will become one.
Does he light it up?
Isn't. His stuff is good. Yeah, I mean,
was he the one who I saw was hitting like 104 in the minors? I was reading about one of those guys in a deal that was hitting 104, 105.
Oh yeah,
miles per hour in the minors.
Well, he's not going to have to hit much in the American League, so it doesn't really bother me.
No. I'm sorry. He on the radar gun, he was hitting 104 miles per hour.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the guy we got from the Red Sox.
Oh, okay.
Kopech, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking about the guy we got from the Nats, Giolito.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's how it's pronounced, at least. Yeah. Actually, I'm on his Wikipedia page right now, and he's wearing virtual reality goggles on the Wikipedia page for some reason. It's an interesting photo if you get a chance to view it. Yeah, but no, I like him. I mean, he's still only 22. He's already had a taste of big league action, and he didn't look good, but whatever. I mean, that's a sampling. And yeah, I'm excited, man. For him, and also, shit, man, we got Mancada,
Oh, from the Red Sox, part of the sale deal.
Yeah.
So. And so, what position does Mancada play?
Well, he can play infield or outfield. I assume with us. I mean, I think he's probably going to start in Charlotte, unless he just has like some mind-blowing spring training. This isn't somebody like I think this is someone we don't want to rush, even though he has already played. He
saw some time with the Red Sox.
The Red Sox gave him a little bit of time last year, and he didn't look good, but I don't know, it was only like 20 at bats, something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, he can play infield or outfield. With the White Sox needs, I'm guessing he would probably play. Oh, okay. They say he's infielder is first choice.
Okay.
I don't know then. Yeah, I guess maybe second base if he comes
really?
up for us.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I would assume so. Unless we trade Brett Lowry. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. The White Sox think he's a 5-tool guy. So
he's 6'2", 205. Yeah, he could fit in there at second base.
Yeah. I want to go ahead and talk about the trade between your teams with Wade Davis for Jorge Soler. And was anyone else involved in the trade?
Nope.
It was just straight up.
One for one.
Just straight up.
Yeah, it's so rare. Isn't the 1-for-1 trade, isn't that like the funnest trade?
Yeah.
It's like a video game trade.
Yeah, totally.
Because usually there's always like prospects or cash or something.
Right.
But, yeah, the 1-for-1 is fun.
This is just a straight up trade, y'all.
Yeah.
So what do you think, guys?
It's bittersweet from our standpoint because Wade Davis got the final out and was so instrumental in the in the Royals World Series run. He was one of the most dominant relievers ever that season, and for him to resurrect his career in Kansas City like he did, he came over in that trade with Tampa Bay as a starting pitcher, and he again failed as a starter and turned into a reliever and was lights out. And for a while there, he was the setup man for Greg Holland. Then he was so dominant, he took over, and he could eventually be inducted into the Kansas City Royals Hall of Fame. So we're sad to see him go.
Yeah, I hope he can stay healthy. I don't know a ton about him, obviously, because I wasn't watching all the KC games that you were. It is rare in the fact that the Cubs usually do not make trades where you give up 4 or 5 years of player control for 1 year of player control.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Wade Davis will be a free agent at the end of next year. So
yeah,
that in one aspect is, kind of, to me. I hope he stays healthy. I want to see him pitch well. It's sad to see George leave, as a lot of the fans used to call him.
Is that what we should call him, as George?
The thing with him is I think he just never got to play every day, and I think he's one of those guys that needs to play every day to become a better baseball player. And he'll have a chance to play more, obviously, with Kansas City. And we just have kind of a log jam of outfielders at the moment. So I hope it works out for both of us. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to have a young bat coming around, because the Royals' young bats don't seem to they don't seem to have anybody on deck, so to speak, in the minors.
He can crush, man. I mean, I watched almost all the games he's played in, and yeah, he's when he hits them solid, man, he crushes them. So
yeah, it should be exciting, but. Yeah, it's interesting that you don't know how far off the Royals are after their regression in 2016.
Some of that's due to injuries, though.
Right? Yeah, had a lot of injuries, but the starting pitching is pretty awful. So obviously Soler can't pitch, but maybe I guess we'll figure that one out later.
It's versatile, all right. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's not that good of a defender, so that's.
He's got a cannon.
I
mean, I watched him some games. He could throw guys out. There was a while where it seemed like he did a couple in a week, where just like the teams must not have got the memo and they like tested him, and he's got an arm. He just needs to maybe work on his. Getting up off the ball a little quicker and stuff. But
I mean, it's still kind of like a sort of like average or below average defender, though. Like overall,
Yeah, absolutely.
Perennial Gold Glover Alex Gordon will show him the light.
Yeah, and he only played in like Levi was saying, limited playing time. He only played in like 85 games last year.
Yep.
And where's Kansas City putting him? He's gonna play in the outfield, right?
Left or right.
Yeah,
okay,
he won't play in left. That's where Gordon plays, and Kane's in center. He'll most likely play in right.
Okay, so right field. That's a pretty good outfield you guys got, man.
Yeah, if they don't trade Kane.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about that for a second. With Kansas City, I think one of those guys, because correct me if I'm wrong, they're all going to be free agents at the end of the year.
Oh, Moustakas Hosmer.
Mustakas Hosmer and Kane, one of those guys is not going to be in a Royals uniforms opening day. I think it's safe to say.
On opening day, yeah. And at this point, it sounds like Kane is the one.
Yeah,
that's going to be
unless you're like, hell with it, we're going to win the thing this year. Which I'm not counting them out, but I think to avoid seeing all three of them just walk away and get nothing in return, you got to flip one of them.
Yeah, even if Kane's flipped this offseason, then there's a pretty good chance one of them would be flipped. Most likely Hosmer by the trade deadline next year.
He's going to bring the most. He has the most value of the three, I think, in terms of a trade.
Oh, definitely.
Just because his hitting's so good.
His glove is great as well.
Yeah, right, that too.
I mean, his hitting is maybe just above average for a first baseman.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he's got the power numbers, right?
He has a lot of RBI numbers, but they're a bit hollow.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
And then, some other trades, as far as who got the best end of that deal, like, if Wade Davis pitches like he did 2 years ago, the Cubs win another World Series, it's settled. But, it was a good move for Kansas City, though, to have somebody under control who you can kind of mold a little bit, for 3-4 years.
I would feel more comfortable about Davis in the playoffs over Aroldis Chapman.
Sure.
Levi.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't have to sweat out a 3-run home run in the 8th inning.
Well, another Cub that flew the coop as well, so to speak, and landed in St. Louis, Mr. Dexter Fowler.
Yeah, big deal. Got a good contract.
Yeah, and typically the Cardinals don't give out big money contracts.
No, they're a little more conservative with their contracts. So yeah, it was a big deal. I don't know, maybe after losing Hayward, they figured we can do this. We can
after losing Hayward and the Cubs won a World Series.
Win the World Series too. Yeah, there's that as well. Yeah, and then wait a minute, John Jay is on the Cubs now too. Right?
And he had a stop in between at the Padres, but he had been on the Cardinals. For his whole career up until the 1 year with the Padres. So that's kind of interesting. There's been some interchange of players there. I wish Fowler the best. I think it was funny in his press conference. He said something like, I signed in St. Louis because I want to win the World Series. It's like, well, you're just coming from the team that won the World Series.
I think that's kind of the stock line, if you
I'm obviously
sign somebody.
Biased, but I don't think the Cardinals are going to be in line to win the World Series next year.
It's kind of like anytime a band releases an album and they say, this is our best work, so
right.
They kind of have to say that.
Yeah.
Just like a guy. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think back to that spring training video of Fowler who didn't sign. 2 weeks into spring training, his agent was turning down offers, and they couldn't find the ones they wanted. And then he signs that 1 year deal with the Cubs. And that video of him going on the field in spring training, and they're all jumping up and down around him, like he came back for. And you could tell he came back for 1 more year. There was no way that he was going to sign with Chicago beyond that year.
Well, and I hope it wasn't a fluke. I hope he produces. I want him to be a good player. But, I mean, he's, it's all baseball. The magical baseball gods, stuff can change so fast.
Dude, he's 30. You know what I mean? He's 30. You already got his best years.
Yeah, right.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, let's look at some of the names that are still out there. Justin Turner is right now the highest rated available free agent at third base. A guy that, prior to last year, I have to admit, I didn't really know much about him. I mean, I want to say maybe for the Dodgers, he's only been a starter maybe for 2 seasons even. He's I don't know. It's just. Maybe I don't follow the Dodgers enough, and I knew he was kind of coming into his own this year. I kept hearing his name in highlights and stuff, but I just had no idea that he was going to be a coveted free agent like he was, or like he is, I should say.
Yeah.
You got Edwin Encarnacion, already 33. Miguel Bautista, who was going to get paid $17 million this upcoming year, and he turned that down.
Oh, Jose Bautista.
Yeah, Jose Bautista. I'm sorry, I said Miguel Bautista. Excuse me. So I don't necessarily think he's. I don't know. I think his stock has slipped quite a bit.
Yeah, well, the Orioles basically came out and were like, he's not going to be on the Orioles. Our fans don't like him.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Also, there's. And I never mind the guy. I mean, whatever. If you flip your bat, you flip your bat. Who gives a shit? But there's he's not a popular player. A lot of people just don't like the cockiness. He's already 36.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see anybody going more than 2 years. It'd be 2 years high salary. Yeah. I don't know. So. Yeah, there's I don't know, man. That's about it. This isn't the sexiest class.
You got Trumbo out there still.
The Trumbombs, okay, yeah. Matt Wieters, kind of interesting. If he could turn it around.
It's interesting. I mean, Matt Wieters was supposed to be that franchise catcher. So it's Matt Wieters and Joe Mauer kind of came in at the same time, and they were these teams.
Mauer came in before Wieters.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right, but. I remember the talk around these two catchers is like, oh, these teams should probably just go ahead and sign them to like 15-year contracts. These guys will be around forever. And then here you are, they can't stay healthy, or they just, the decline starts and gone.
Yeah, I mean, when you get a catcher with that much promise, a lot of teams feel like they've won the lottery, and it just, yeah, you're right. It doesn't. They can't sustain it. Because we had that. I felt like guys that like 4 or 5 years ago, we had this period where like there were like so many kick-ass catchers that like were just having great years. You had Napoli when he was catching, right? I think he used to catch. There's some others that escaped, McCann. All these guys, and it didn't really last. This golden era of the catcher, the hitting catcher. It wasn't really an era. It was like a season or two.
I'm kind of surprised that Pedro Alvarez is so far down that list. Granted, he's never hit for average, but he's hit 20 home runs 4 times in his career, and he's relatively young. He's only 29. So I mean, I would take a flyer on Pedro Alvarez.
Yeah. Why not? Okay, yeah, he's still available. Papelbon is out there.
I'm sorry. No. Yeah, he is still available. Okay, yeah, Alvarez is still available. For a second, I thought he had signed, but no.
Yeah. So Kenley Jansen on the relieving side, he'll get a pretty fat deal for a reliever.
He will, maybe Miami or something. They were thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so we'll keep her. Yeah, the hot stove. Still some interesting moves to be made out there. And also, if I could, sorry guys, you guys were much better during the regular season, so the off season is the time for my team to shine.
Yeah.
So don't get too caught up, man. It's prospects, though.
They don't hand out any trophies in December, bud.
I think it was it Allen Iverson? Allen Iverson, he's like, we're talking about prospects, man. This is prospects. We're talking about prospects.
Talk about prospects.
We are living in an era where the prospect may be a little overvalued. But second year in a row, the number one prospect has been traded. A lot of guys remember last year that guy Dansby Swanson guy.
Right? Yeah.
And he looks like he's going to be pretty good, actually. But yeah, they traded Shelby Miller for him.
Yeah, who had a shit year.
Yeah. But with the White Sox, I don't think we're done yet. I think that if we don't, I think the pressure is kind of off to trade Jose Quintana now. I mean, I think it's very possible that he could be moved, but we've still got him under control at a fairly reasonable amount of money.
You think they might move Abreu still?
I think they might move Abreu. Yeah, which that's tough too, because it's like the offense the White Sox offense can be so anemic at times that God, you trade Abreu, it's like what's left.
It's a tough bat to replace.
Yeah. I mean, we've got what I could see happening actually, guys. I think some of the guys that are like that wouldn't bring as much, like Todd Frazier, who hit a lot of home runs last year, but also had like a Rob Deere batting average. I could see Frazier getting moved just because if somebody needs a DH. Yeah. Maybe he won't get moved right away, but I don't think Frazier will end 2017 with the White Sox. And maybe Melky Cabrera as well, which I hate to say it since that's my son's favorite player. But Melky Abrera, as he calls him. He drops the C. So anyway, yeah. So I don't think they're done, but I wouldn't be shocked if Quintana stayed put. And like the two big moves kind of have already happened.
Sure.
So yeah. So anyway.
All right.
Well, let's talk about, guys, in the vein of the hot stove. Let's talk about trading band members. Now, we did this, I think maybe last year, and it was a lot of fun. And I need to go back and actually look at who we traded. I want to say
I traded Steve Gorman from the Black Crowes to Pearl Jam for Matt Cameron.
Matt Cameron, okay.
On drums. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember mine off the top of my
don't?
head.
I want to say I traded maybe like Ray Manzarek for Pigpen, maybe. I can't remember exactly.
If not, I might sign off on that. I might sign off.
God, man, that's
you may already have.
Yeah, 50% of the livers in that band with Morrison and Pigpen in the band that I was suffering. Jeez.
Yeah, this is an enabling trade.
Yeah, right. The drunkest band of all time. But anyway, so yeah, I think that was mine. I'll have to look it up and see just to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was mine. So I've got one for tonight, but I'm curious to hear you guys first. So for the folks at home, pretty loose on the rules here. It's just one guy for one guy, and you couldn't trade somebody who's dead for somebody who's alive right now. Well, I'm sorry, I take that back. Wait, do we have any rules?
Well, no, it would be strange, if you traded Jerry Garcia for I don't know, like Adele. That wouldn't make any sense. Anyway, ideally there's overlap at some point of the two musicians.
I like that.
Adele doesn't mean when the music never stopped, man.
Right. Okay, so Levi, who do you got? Why don't you start us off, man?
Well, I'm going to. Mine is kind of a precursor of two of my favorite records of the year.
Okay.
So I am going to trade Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones for Kirk Hammett of Metallica.
Whoa!
What?
Whoa!
Mind blown.
What?
Wow!
I want to hear like a super shred, paint it black, and then I want to hear like Master of Puppets all bluesed out. Just let's get it done. Let's get it done.
Wow!
Blowing minds.
Man, I could maybe see Keith playing on a Nothing Else Matters, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
I could maybe see a blues interpretation of that tune.
Keith might be more into the load reload era.
Maybe.
He's doing a Kick Nothing, a hero of the day by Keith.
I got Keith playing For Whom the Bell Tolls or something, huh? Jesus. Levi!
Oh, man. It's going to be weird to see him in different uniforms.
The last part of my preparations for this episode, so by the end of it I was like, okay, let's just get crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like seeing Derek Jeter in a Cubs uniform or something. What?
Yeah, Nomar. It was like seeing Nomar in a Cubs uniform.
But that actually happened.
It was scary. I was there.
I kind of like it if the song selections are correct, Levi. If we could write the Metallica set list according to Keith's strengths, then maybe it could at least a show.
Uh-huh.
This for mine, it doesn't have to be permanent. It could be like an album and a tour, or just one or the other. Yeah. So
right on. Yeah, intriguing.
I like that. That's the boldest one I think you're gonna hear.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, mine's not that bold.
No. All right, I'll go next. In a surprising move, the Velvet Underground has decided to trade Lou Reed to the Grateful Dead. And this is where I need your help. Should Lou Reed be traded for Jerry or Bob?
My first gut says Bob.
Yeah? Vocally speaking, do you think that would be a better fit?
I think, I could hear Lou singing while Jerry's playing maybe more than I could hear Bob singing while Lou's playing and singing or whatever.
Would Lou take on the Bobby tunes then?
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'd like to, even though I mean it's a cover, but I'd like to hear an interpretation of Little Red Rooster. With Lou singing it. That would be cool.
Yeah. And
I can handle that.
It wouldn't be. We aren't looking for perfect matches here. Obviously, no. we're looking for something that might add an interesting element. And I thought that Lou might add an interesting element.
I say Bobby. I say
Bob.
and
Okay,
Bobby.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, it's handed down. It's been approved. Lou Reed for Bob Weir.
And let him. Oh my God, I could handle Lou singing maybe Throwing Stones, maybe.
Yeah, all right,
something like that. Yeah.
Lost now on the country miles in his Cadillac.
Right. He just goes total spoken word. Oh, or God, man. I mean, to hear the Dead do rock and roll, or
Oh yeah.
God, even heroin.
Jared those Sweet Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
good.
Velvet Underground's touring with Bob Weir.
Those are both bold. I know I dealt with the Dead last time. I think I'll have to confirm that. And then Jonathan just did their. I guess maybe I'm drawn to them because there's so many members you could swap in and out. You got different eras. So to put it into context, I'm gonna take a year. I'm gonna say it's 1987. It's the beginning of 1987, right? I'm gonna swap Mark Knopfler for Bob Weir.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Weir's been traded twice.
Yeah, right. So Dire Straits would have been coming off the success of Brothers in Arms, which is huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you bring Knopfler over there while the Dead's kind of heading towards In the Dark territory. A little poppier, but that's okay. Knopfler brings some of that,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'd love to hear Brett Midland. This is Brett Midland years still.
Yeah.
So you'd have. I think he would work well with Knopfler. Or I think it would sound cool. I don't know if it would work well together, but they would sound...
I could see Jerry ripping up So Far Away.
Something like... Yeah. Bring in... Fuck, dude. Can you imagine the Dead doing Sultans of Swing? That would rip.
Oh,
dude.
man. Oh, man.
Oh. Him and Jerry both, tearing it up on that. Oh, God. And then, the Dire Straits, I don't have as much to say about, what Weir would bring to a 1987 Dire Straits. I don't know, maybe they would jam a little more live. I don't know. I would... I could totally handle it though. I think it would be fine. So yeah, that's mine. Knopfler for Weir. Yeah.
Maybe Weir would at least help keep the band together through the 90s.
He might.
Yeah,
he might.
And that would be a boon. Yeah.
Yeah. So
right on.
So yeah, that's my trade.
So some controversial trades this year.
Yeah, and Bob Weir swapped twice.
Yeah. Bob Weir's just one. Bob Weir's like Ben Zobrist. He's always involved in he could go anywhere.
Right. Excellent. Good deal. We're going to talk about the best of 2016 now. The year's coming to a close. We'll talk obviously about our favorite records, but also maybe any other elements related to music that we saw in 2016, whether they be shows or different moments for baseball as well. So for best of 2016, Levi, I'm just curious, what happened in 2016 to your baseball team?
Yeah. Did anything good happen? Best moment was when you were in first place for that one day in June.
What was the best moment? Yeah.
Honestly, the whole culmination of the Cubs winning the World Series and the rest of 2016 has me feeling like I'm in some kind of parallel universe.
It's
like
so
that
surreal.
I'm going to eventually wake up. Like January 31st of 16, I'll wake up and it'll be January 1st of 15 again or something. Yeah. I'm in some weird time warp. Yeah, the Cubs won the World Series. It's still weird to say. Still says,
Do you feel different?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Part of me maybe does. Yeah, just because it was new. It was all new territory. I never got to see the Cubs in an NLCS. I never really got to see the Cubs ever in a World Series.
89? Oh, well, then 03.
Yeah, sorry, I say. In LCS I saw him. Duh.
Yeah.
But the World Series.
Just the World Series, yeah. Never got to see him win an NLCS, I guess.
Right.
It was, it's still all I have the T-shirt and the hat that say World Series champions, and it still feels weird wearing them. It's just like it really happened.
Do you have that feeling of when, I don't know, there's something like you have to worry about for a while, like, I don't know, filing your taxes or something. And so, like, you put it off, and then you finally do it, and then, like, the next day you think, oh, what's that thing that I have to do? Oh, I already did it. Do you have that feeling of, like, where'd that hump go? There's that hump is gone that used to be on my back, and it feels strange that I'm not weighted down by it.
A little bit, yeah. That's a good way to put it. I think I'll be more affected by it maybe this coming next season. Sure. Like once I get into the dog days of baseball, July, August, it'll be like, man, we really won the World Series last year. Part of it is still just surreal.
Yeah, I mean, you want to win another one, but it takes the pressure off. It's like we were talking about Wade Davis a few minutes ago. It's like, well, if he doesn't pan out, well,
yeah,
right.
Oh, whatever, I mean,
yeah, and exactly. I think the Cubs felt like they'd seen what they wanted to see out of Jorge Soler, and so they just he was the best available outfielder guy that they were willing to trade. I think is what it came down to on that.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's it's hard to top that. And I think like I don't want to like when the White Sox won it, it was very surreal, and I talked to some fans who were like, oh, who cares? A few years later, it's like, no, I want to keep winning them. I want to win more.
Oh
yeah. I feel like I talked to a few people that were like, whatever. It's like, no, I want to keep winning them. But for you, it's also fresh now. Then just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, enjoy the honeymoon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, what about albums, though, Levi? What was your favorite record?
Yeah, my favorite albums, 2 albums of the year, are albums that were released in this last just few months of the year.
Right. Well, last few weeks, really.
Yeah. Metallica's "Hardwired to Self-Destruct," which is excellent, and the newest one, like you just mentioned, the Rolling Stones' "Blue and Lonesome." Start with the Metallica. It's a return to Metallica form, I guess. What the neatest thing I think is they made kind of like a video album as well. They've made videos for every song for the record that you can go on YouTube and watch. They're like animated or CGI, or they'll have the band in them. They're all different. And one of my my Levi's choice cut off of it is going to be a song called "Spit Out the Bone," which I think is excellent.
Yeah.
And the Stones. Who would have thought the Stones had another great record in them?
Somebody else's. It's everybody. It's other people's.
Yeah,
songs.
Yeah, it's other people's songs, but
right.
I mean, it's just pure bluesy Chicago blues sounding Stones, and it was recorded all live. There's no overdubs, and it's excellent. My choice cut off of that is going to be a song called "Hate to See You Go," which is excellent.
Pleasant surprises with both of those. Very pleasant surprises. Yeah. For me, the Metallica one kind of sounds like it should have come out maybe after "And Justice for All," but before the Black Album. You know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely got a lost album sound.
Yeah. It's like it's got a thrash, for lack of a better word, sound, but it's still a little slicker production wise than those classic albums like Ride the Lightning and Puppets and Kill 'Em All and even Justice for All. The producer that they worked with is a guy by the name of Greg Fiddleman. I think that's I think it's his last name. He's like one of Rick Rubin's guys. Like he engineers a lot of the records that Rick Rubin works on. He worked on like Black Sabbath's last record, that 13 that came out a couple of years ago. Yeah. He worked on that. He worked on a couple of the newer Slayer records. So like he kind of knows how to give like veteran acts some kind of, but when I say this, I don't mean new metal, but kind of like modern metal touches, sort of. I thought David Fricke who the Rolling Stone critic, he said here that about the Metallica one, it's got the jagged apocalypse of and Justice for All. Like a lot of the lyrics are, I mean, this not that this is isn't par for the course for Metallica, but a lot of the lyrics are pretty grim. It kind of harkens back to like a lot of the lyrics on And Justice for All, and so he called it Jagged Apocalypse, and then he said Focus Brawn of Metallica's Black Album. And I thought that was a good way to put it. I mean, I've always liked David Fricke, but I thought that was because it is like a throwback, but it's also it's got kind of some.
It's also
slick,
polished. Yeah,
it's also polished
absolutely.
though too. They did a good job with it. I think it's. I have to admit, I'm not that familiar with the one that came out like about Death Magnetic.
Yeah.
Which was a while now, right? That was probably.
Yeah.
That was 2009, maybe.
I was going to say 9. Yeah. I'm not
something like
positive,
that.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. So I need to listen to that one to see, if there's kind of a progression or what have you.
There was Saint Anger as well.
Yeah. Right. Which is a divisive record in the Metallica catalog. So. Good choices, man. I like both of those a lot, and they both really caught me by surprise too about how quality each of them are.
Yeah, they were solid. I enjoyed listening to them.
Yeah.
What about shows, Levi? Favorite shows?
Oh, my favorite shows were the Grateful Dead, or I should say the Dead in Boulder. We saw them at the football stadium where the Buffaloes play, which was really fun. Then the other two shows are shows that I worked, but I got to see the show. Stanley Jordan, like a guitar virtuoso, he played the Boulder Theater and was excellent. If you're into kind of like jazz fusion-y guitar pyrotechnics type stuff, he's excellent. And then another show was Buddy Guy, and he had Doyle Bramall II open for him in Fort Collins. They played a street festival, and yeah, it was excellent. Buddy Guy could still rip, he could still sing, and Doyle Bramall had a quartet. It was like a straight up rock trio, but also with keyboards, and they were excellent as well. So yeah. Those were my highlights. I didn't get to see a ton of shows this year.
When you watch a show that you work, do you watch from side stage or do you watch from out front?
It just depends. Like, I mean, I'll usually go out front for a song or two at least, just to see what it's sounding like out there. Sometimes I'm running monitors, so if I have headphones on, I'll be able to hear my monitor mix. Other than that, it just depends. I mean, I try to go out to at least where the speakers are. It just depends, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jonathan, what about you? Go ahead. You do yours, man.
Yeah, I'll kind of go reverse here, talking about shows too. It was a pretty dry year. I mean, with all due respect to the shows I saw, I didn't see very many shows this year. And the ones I did see included seeing Pearl Jam twice down in South Florida and Miami and Sunrise, Florida, which were really fun shows to go down there and catch those with our buddies, the Davises, and then Sturgill Simpson here in Kansas City was a good show, though the mix was less than ideal. I remember seeing Sturgill Simpson at the Midland Theater, and the Midland Theater is a great place, and so it usually has stellar sound, but I noticed when I was there that the vocals seemed a little bit drowned out, and sure enough, I was reading some other reviews online that confirmed that, so it wasn't just where I was. So that was pretty unusual, but regardless, it was still a pretty awesome show, and that kind of encapsulates my live experience for the year. But as far as albums go, man, there were dozens of albums I think that came out this year that I've listened to several times, but a few really stand out. Other than so the funny thing about Sturgill Simpson's Sailor's Guide to Earth, which was nominated for Grammy Album of the Year, I've listened to it several times, but it's so intense that I think I had to put it away, and I'm going to come back and listen to it again maybe in 2017. And because it needs your focus. It's like having a Rush album on. You can't just like have Rush on in the background. It demands your attention, Yes.
Yeah.
And so I need to give it its due attention. Otherwise, favorite albums included. So there's a band called Goat. They're on Sub Pop actually, and they're from Sweden, and supposedly they're like this remote tribe from near Sweden's Arctic Circle, and whether or not how fabricated that is up for debate. But anyway, I think they're from Sweden at least, and it's kind of this desert blues psychedelia with some tribal beats. It's a lot of fun though, and there's a lot of costume involved. I was just watching a Glastonbury video from 2015, and it looks like people didn't know what to expect, and they started to blow people away. So that's good. There's it's like a lot of guitar, like catchy guitar riffs and pan flutes mixed with pan flutes. Goat's fun. I mean, like, and on their most in this new record of theirs, it is called, I have it here, Requiem. It's their third album, and it's kind of more uplifting than their previous albums. The previous albums are really kind of dark. Not wholly, but that's how I remember them. It's a little bit darker, but Requiem is a little bit more upbeat. So yeah, Goat's Requiem. Another band from east of Sweden, from St. Petersburg, Russia, Pink Shiny Ultra Blast. Was another one of my favorite albums of the year. Really kind of gets me going. It's this shoegaze thunder pop. I guess thunder pop is a phrase that people use to describe music. They are thunder pop. A lot of like 5 or 6 minute songs. Heavy guitars. Just and a female vocalist, just like Goat has a female vocalist. And it's like their songs are really intricate. It's like bridges connected to bridges. It's fun song construction. Pink Shiny Ultra Blast. It's called Grand Feathered, not grandfathered, but Grand Feathered. And then a third one that I really enjoyed was Whitney, a band from Chicago, Illinois. They're on the secretly Canadian record, formerly of Smith Westerns, and one of the guys was an Unknown Mortal Orchestra, was the drummer in there, and so they formed this band called Whitney. This first album of theirs was produced by Jonathan Rado of Foxygen. Apparently they camped out in Jonathan Rado's backyard in L.A., and it totally has that sound, because when I describe it, I say it's like mid-'70s Laurel Canyon sound. And while they don't have a female vocalist, their male vocalist sings in falsetto, so it sounds like a female vocalist. So maybe that was just my thing this year, was female vocalist. But yeah, it's like Whitney is golden breezes of pop and melancholy. It's a fun listen. I highly suggest it. So that's album called Light Upon the Lake by Whitney.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I put it in the queue.
I checked it out. It definitely does have the Laurel Canyon vibe, like you're mentioning.
Yeah, it's a fun listen. The dude, obviously, like, they lost some girlfriends along the way, and they're writing about it, and but it's they're kind of upbeat about it at the same time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then my favorite moment, oddly enough, for baseball, as painful as it is, it's when Aroldis Chapman gave up that home run. I was rooting for the Cubs. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I was rooting for the Cubs the whole time. But when he gave up that home run, this is like, you couldn't script something like that.
It was one of the best World Series.
I'm sorry, you could script something like that. It's very easy to write something like that. I hate it when people say that, but you wouldn't think that would actually happen. But little did I know about the Cubs lore.
Yeah, it was soul crushing, and then the next inning was like redeeming. It was insane.
It made it all the sweeter for the World Series win.
Yeah. It was like it was written. It was like somebody scripted it, because it was insane. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the Chapman the Chapman dong is my favorite moment of 2016.
Anyway, for me, for records, a veteran act that I came on strong this year. I got to give the best album of the year to Radiohead. I think the Moon-Shaped Pool is, to me, it's my favorite since Kid A. Which I don't know if that's saying much because, some of their more recent records have been met with some ambivalence. Although I like King of Limbs a lot, and I think In Rainbows is good too. But yeah, I really like this record a lot. The more I listen, it's cliche, but the more I listen to it, the more I like it. And it's mellower. I'd be curious to hear, because I know, Levi, you like the Bends quite a bit. You had told me, I think, once.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of the Bends because there's a lot of acoustic guitar on it. But it's also got kind of that sort of, moody electronic sound that's permeated a lot of their work, for the last
I'll have to check
15 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out, man. I think you dig it. I really do. Even if, and folks that are at home, and if you haven't really dug the last few Radiohead records, give this one a spin.
Yeah, it's a band that has my radar in a while.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like I said, it reminds me of their older stuff, but at the same time, it's also, it doesn't abandon, kind of that evolution that they've made over the last 15 years or so. So yeah, really good stuff. So that's my favorite. The standout tracks on that one for me. I like the song called The Numbers. There's a song called Desert Island Disc that's really good, and there's another one called Identikit. So yeah, I really dig it. So that's my favorite record of this year. After that, there's a lot of records I like. I feel like I need to listen to them more. I really like the Cults record a lot, Hidden City, because to me that's just kind of a band that's really sounds rejuvenated, and I like their last record prior to Hidden City, the one called Weapon of Choice. I liked it a lot as well, and strangely, they've always worked with Bob Rock ever since Sonic Temple, and Bob Rock's a guy that a lot of people don't like. He's the one that did Load and Reload for Metallica, and a lot of people think he's just kind of too slick. He's also brought out the best in Michael Bublé as well. Seriously, he has worked with Michael Bublé.
Right.
But with the Cult, though, I really like his production. I think, kind of gives them. He matures the sound, helps them mature the sound a little bit. So yeah, and it's got that kind of Cult, like bluesy kind of swagger to it as well. But it's still pretty focused too. So I really dig the Cults record. Some of the others that I dug this year, there's a British band called Savages that put out a record called Adore Life that I think is really good.
That's solid.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And then there's another band, I think I may have talked about them before, called Hi Hi's.
I don't think you had, because you mentioned them, and I went ahead and spun it, and I was like, "Whoa, where's this been hiding? This is good."
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's kind of dreamy, kind of electronic, kind of pop, So yeah, there's a band. I had heard their record prior to the most recent one, and that's when I got into them a couple of years ago, and I like this record a lot too. I really like the Jim James record a lot too.
It is good.
It's mellow, and to me it kind of really just kind of flows as one continuous song.
It does.
That's how it sounds to me. So I really dig it. The times I've listened to it, I've listened to it start to finish because I think it works best that way.
I like it better than his first solo effort, which I couldn't quite get behind.
Yeah, I think this one's much better. They're much more to my liking, at least.
Yeah.
So I'll give him a plug too, because Carl from My Morning Jacket put out a pretty good record too. 4th of July.
Oh, right.
Is pretty good. Yeah. So those are some of my favorites.
Nice.
Yeah. Good
what about
stuff.
shows?
Yeah, what kind of shows?
I didn't get to see as many. Two kids will do that to you. Too young.
Oh yeah, we're all getting older.
Oh yeah. I liked. I got to go see Pearl Jam at Wrigley the first night, which was awesome in terms of covers. I saw Fish both nights at Wrigley. One of those nights was better than the other. And
what are the main differences between a PJ and a Fish crowd at Wrigley Field?
Good question.
Psychedelics? I don't know.
Yeah, like, obviously a lot more mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about it, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, so what's it been now? Like, how is the Fish show? Is the Fish show at all different today than it was 20 years ago when you saw your first one?
I
mean, obviously,
the crowd's older.
Yeah. Is it?
I don't really think as many college kids are into
them anymore.
I don't get that impression. No, the crowd definitely skews older. I would say most people are there are 30 or older. So that's demographic. Yeah, I don't see a lot of younger people there. I don't really. I think among the college kids, I'm not really sure. Like the current college kids, if they're really that, a thing. And if you look at their tour too, they don't really play college towns anymore. When in the late '90s, they played Champaign quite a few times. They even played Bloomington. Just talking about the Midwest, but
sure, yeah.
Like if you look at their tour, they play places like Ann Arbor and big college towns, which you don't really see that anymore on their tour. So that tells me right there that maybe the demand among 18 to 22-year-olds isn't really there. So, so those stood out to me. I take it back. I caught Wilco too this year at Millennium Park, which was a solid show as well. I wanted to ask you guys something. Kind of, be in the season and all. Close it out here. What's the best rock Christmas tune? You got? What do you got? I know I'm putting you both on the spot there tremendously.
Okay. Rock specifically?
Yeah, like pop. Let's say rock. Yeah, like a rock band or rock musician to put out a Christmas song. What's your favorite? Mine's easy.
Betsy would want me to vouch.
Create a ton of dead air.
All right. No, I got one. So, Betsy would want me to say, and I agree with her that it is a lot of fun. Bob Dylan put out that Christmas album a couple years ago, and the Must Be Santa Claus cut on there, and the video is can't miss. You have to see this video for Must Be Santa Claus by Bob Dylan. It's a lot of fun.
Okay,
that's different than Here Comes Santa Claus, right?
Very different. Yes, this is like a polka.
Yeah.
Nice. I've got that record. It's fun, Yeah. We put it on as kind of a joke.
It's comforting to know that Bob can let loose with something like that. Like it settles the soul a little bit.
It's tough for me. If I have to pick one, I'm probably going to go Chuck Berry, Run Rudolph Run.
That's solid.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's good.
It's probably either that or Brenda Lee Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Sure.
Good, yeah. I'm going to go with Father Christmas by the Kinks.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Give us some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a ripper. Yeah, we'll bait you up if you don't hand it out. Yeah, so. All right, well, he's making a list and checking it twice, guys, so it's been fun. And please follow us on Instagram and Twitter at RockinChew, and then also at rockchew.com. Check us out there, and you can learn everything you need to know about rock and roll Shin-Soo Chew. And we'll be coming back strong in 2017. And please have a safe holiday, and we'll see everybody in the new year.
Yeah. Rest in fucking peace, 2016.
Yeah, send that thing away.
Yeah, peace fucking out.